Daikatana. Oh, Daikatana. What a sad, sad failure you were and still are to this day. I'm sure that a lot of you have no clue what this abomination is, so here's the quick scoop on the tragedy that is Daikatana. After churning out the gigantic successes that were Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, and Quake, founders of id Software, John Romero and John Carmack, had a falling out, and Romero ended up leaving id to found his own company, Ion Storm. Shortly afterwards, the PC shooter known as Daikatana is announced. John Romero hoped for the game to be finished in 7 months, but even his former co-worker at id Software, John Carmack, called the idea of the game being finished in that amount of time patently ludicrous. Daikatana is worked on for 11 months, and then all that progress is quickly scrapped so the game can be ported to the then new Quake 2 engine, which John Romero knew was vastly superior to the Quake 1 engine which Daikatana was running on at the time. This all occurs around 1997. Afterwards, the game is continually delayed until it sees a release in the year 2000. At which time it was destroyed by critics for having terrible gameplay and outdated graphics. Not to mention that the game already had a bad reputation before release due to the insane ad campaign where you were told that you were about to be made John Romero's bitch and that you had to suck it down. Now, all of what I just said refers to Daikatana on the PC. Approximately 3 months after the release of that game, it got ported to the Nintendo 64 by Kemco. Since 3 months isn't really enough time to do a competent port, Daikatana 64 is a very fucked up game, and there are even various reports alleging that Romero himself called the game abysmal. The reason I chose to focus on the 64 version for this episode over the PC version is to see if I could break the masochism meter here, because trust me, Daikatana on the PC doesn't even begin to compare to something like Quake 3, which came out in 1999 and was a critically acclaimed shooter at the time. However, Daikatana on the 64 makes Daikatana on the PC look like Unreal Tournament, which was also released in 1999 and was arguably better than Quake 3. You get all that? Don't worry, even if you didn't, all you need to know is that Daikatana 64 is possibly the worst FPS ever created. All this talk though, and I haven't even shown you guys the game. I guess it's about time to play Daikatana. Jesus God! Wow, 2 seconds into the game and it's already stuttering. I thought it was just the game fucking up because of my recording software, but no. This happens every time you try the game and on every single cartridge of the game. Clearly, no one cared enough to test out the damn game before shitting it out. After you finally get into the game, you're treated to a 10-minute plus cutscene that explains the story. It's not like the story in this game even matters because it's a plot hole ridden shit show. And I think this should go without saying, but did it really need to be 10 fucking minutes? There are entire levels in some games that take less than that to clear, and this is just a cutscene! It's also pretty clear that these graphics are just horrible. This guy doesn't have 2 functioning eyes, he has 2 black circles carved into his head, and the other textures on his body are equally terrible. Even when he's cutting these bamboo mats, you can tell that they've already been cut. When you finally get into the real game, you're treated to a dull mess of colors with some bad textures again. Now, here is the biggest damn problem with this game. The controls. It was hard enough running and gunning in the original Daikatana for PC because the main character has condom sock syndrome, meaning he slips and slides all over the fucking place. He also has it in the Nintendo 64 version, but since it's already so damn hard to shoot using the controller, you often end up trying to move the cursor left and right so you can shoot the fucking thing already. Another thing Daikatana on the PC is infamously known for is that on the first level, all you do is shoot mosquitoes and frogs. If you like that, you'll probably be disappointed because even though the mosquitoes and frogs are in this game, they barely do a damn thing. In fact, the frogs never do anything. They just sit there and wait for you to kill them. This is also something else that should go without saying, but why the fuck are the main enemies in the first levels mosquitoes? Why would you make an enemy so damn small that I can't hit him? Most of the time, they're so close to you, you just can't fucking kill them. You gotta run away. But even that's not guaranteed to work because they follow you. Oh, and this piece of shit starting weapon, don't even get me fucking started. Who the hell thought it was a good idea to have one of the very first weapons in the game feature a fire mode where your blast can ricochet back and hurt you? I know there's weapons like this in other games, but why do you have to put it at the beginning of the game to piss people off even more? The controls don't help this thing either, and neither does the blast of this thing going wherever the fuck it wants after bouncing off your primary target. It's already hard enough to move in this game. Trust me, you can switch between the run and walk options, but even when running, he's still slow as fuck. And this is a first-person shooter where it feels like the guy functions on tank controls. He's just like Ark Thompson and Bubsby, where they can't move in a curved line and they gotta go straight, then turn. And then there's this, what the fuck is that thing? Even the main character doesn't know. Like I said, the story in this game doesn't make any sense. Can you believe that there are characters in the PC version that are taken out from the Nintendo 64 version, but they still left them in the cutscenes? If it's not apparent that they didn't give a fuck by now, I'll try and make it a little clearer. This game has the worst non-playable characters ever. This guy hates his job. I guess he hates it so much he won't report someone who's been mowing his way through security with these large weapons. But okay, let's give this guy the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't know who you are and assumes you're just somebody working there. Would he continue assuming this when there's a giant fucking robot trying to kill me behind him? And these prisoners. Oh my god. This guy is asking for help after you essentially break him out. Here's your help, motherfucker. And look at this other guy. He doesn't want to die in prison. So why don't you just fucking leave? The door is wide open. Another thing about this game is that you might think I'm just editing the audio over the cutscenes and that's why you can't hear any dialogue. But no, there's no voice acting in this version of Daikatana. What we get is boxes of text. As a gamer, and especially as a fan of first-person shooters, I don't want to go into a game where I have to read text boxes, much less for 10 fucking minutes like at the beginning of this game. The weapons in Daikatana absolutely suck. Not in the way they're designed, but the way they're integrated into the levels. They give you this rocket launcher which seems pretty cool, but there's this elevator you have to use, and if you use the rocket launcher, the recoil will push you right off the platform and damage you, if not kill you. So if you're out of ammo on the ion blaster and you get to this part, you might as well just jump off the elevator. Every so often your character will level up. That's right, there are RPG aspects to this game. But here's the kicker. No matter how much you level up, it has barely, if any, effect on your character and how you play the game. Imagine playing Pokemon and your stats not changing at all or getting any new moves when you level up, and you'd have an accurate representation of the RPG system in Daikatana. You want to know the main difference between Pokemon and Daikatana? Besides the fact that Pokemon games are actually good, besides the fact that Pokemon has a working RPG mechanic, and besides the fact that Pokemon games are actually successful, Pokemon looks good. Daikatana looks like shit. I know I've been mentioning how bad the textures are, but what little I've said is just the tip of the iceberg. Is this a face? What the fuck is this? Does this even count as a person? No fucking wonder it was criticized for having bad graphics. It runs on the Quake 2 engine, otherwise known as the id Tech 2. But when this game was released, the id Tech 3 was already used on Quake 3. The Nintendo 64 port only further downgrades the graphics and reduces them to murky toilet water, which is why this game looks so bad. If you're wondering why I haven't covered the levels yet, it's because I only made it to Mission 2, not even Episode 2. There's this part where you have to press a switch which activates a bridge above you. You have to get to the bridge using this platform before the bridge retracts. I did it once, but there's this other part where I fell off and landed right where I was before. So I had to do all that shit again, but this time the controls fucked me. I fucking had it with this piece of shit. I don't even have any more words to describe how bad this biohazardous shitcake travesty really is. The fact that this game even exists has made me so fucking angry. So let's just come up with a new word. When something is so bad you don't have words to describe it, just call it Daikatana. Superman 64 is Daikatana. Bugsy 3D is Daikatana. Action 52 is very fucking Daikatana. I feel like beating the shit out of something right now, and I know exactly what it's gonna be. Except I'm not gonna put an ass whooping on the unfortunate son. I'm gonna beat the fuck out of the knowing father. Get over here, you fucking piece of shit! I'm not gonna tell you where it is. I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you for being such a shitty game. Hey. Come here, I'm gonna show you where Daikatana is. Here's your motherfucking Daikatana. Ugh. I'm glad that's done with. Now, I really feel compelled to say something. I don't think we should hate John Romero for Daikatana.
What?
I know, man. Hear me out. While this version of Daikatana is fucking horrible, he wasn't responsible for this port. And while Daikatana itself does suck, you can tell that he tried to make a good game out of it. With that said, he's still majorly responsible for Doom, Doom 2, Quake, Wolfenstein 3D, and those games are legendary. If that's not enough for you, when he founded Ion Storm, he was indirectly responsible for the creation of Deus Ex. It's not like John Romero is Tommy Wiseau, where he's only made one bad thing in his career. Speaking of Tommy Wiseau, if John Romero made a movie, what would it be called? Probably be called The Katana.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not.
That'd be fucking awful. If you like this video, please thumbs up, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.
Time 0.
Resident Evil Survivor.